Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel.
Here's to the ones that we got. Cheers to the wish you were here, but you're not, 'cause the drinks bring back all the memories.
If you guys had been previously subscribed, I know it's been a very long time since I've been in your subscription box, but hi. Since the last time you guys saw me, I've picked up a new hobby per se. I'm sure you can tell from the title of today's video that we are going to be talking books. The video is going to be very comfy, cozy vibes. As you can see, I'm literally in my bed, have my coffee, have some books, and let's get into it. Today, I wanted to do like a quarterly review of the books I've read from January to March. So the first book we had is The Two Mrs. Greenvilles by Dominick. In this book, there is showgirl Anne Arden. She meets Billy Greenville Jr. The Greenvilles are like this big, rich, lavish family living in New York City at the time. And Anne doesn't really fit in with them, and no one in Billy's family wants to see the two of them together. Anne, she came from a small town and wants nothing more than to be a part of the lavish New York City society. However, there comes a point where Billy is found dead with Anne sobbing by his side, and both Anne and Billy's mother, the other Mrs. Greenville, need to figure out where to go from here. I did really enjoy the setting of this book, being in New York City, and I did love like seeing not only the family dynamics, but the dynamics in the marital relationship of Anne and Billy. The only thing that I didn't like about this book though is it's separated into part 1, part 2, part 3, and there's no chapters in between. And when you're just trying to get into reading, sometimes it can be daunting to see that many pages in a row with no set stopping point. So that was like really the only thing that I had against it. But I did still rate it 3.5 stars because I did enjoy the overall plot of the book. One book into this video and I'm already taking a coffee break. The next book on my list is Songbirds by Christi Lefteri. And I'm sorry if I pronounce any author names wrong during this. It's completely by accident. This book begins with a Sri Lankan maid. She's working for this family in Cyprus. And Cyprus, at this time, has a very high population of maids who are coming there for work from various different countries. As the story goes on, these maids just keep disappearing, and the police want nothing to do with it. Like, they will not help. They don't believe it's happening. They're just telling everyone that they probably ran away. Then it is up to the families who are employing these maids to figure out where they went and whether or not they will come back. This book I read was based on the actual disappearances of maids in Cyprus, which made the story like even better. It felt so realistic. And the way that the author was able to write about it, it was just beautifully done. I did end up giving this book 4 stars because I really enjoy learning about like different cultures and all that kind of stuff, and I think it was just a really well done book. The next book I read was Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult, I think her last name is pronounced, and Jennifer Finney Boylan. Ever since reading this book, I have recommended it to all of my friends. I literally love this book. It's probably my favorite book I've ever read. In this book, Lily and Asher are a typical high school couple, as it seems, until one day Lily is found dead in her home and Asher is the prime suspect. He's taken to jail and has to go through this whole court case. This story is told via a dual point of view between Lily and Olivia, who is Asher's mom. You kind of see Olivia's story tells both the past and the story in the present, and Lily's point of view tells, like, it goes from the present back to the past, so you get to learn more about Lily prior to her death. Another thing about this book is the way that the authors are able to present and talk about social issues is just incredible. And the ending of this book left me completely and utterly shocked. Like, I did not see it coming, and it comes in like the last 10 pages. So like, you have to keep reading until the end. Book number 4 was November 9th by Colleen Hoover. This was the first Colleen Hoover book I've ever read, and I thought it was pretty good. In this book, Fallon was in a house fire that left her face and half of her body scarred, and on the anniversary of the fire, she was out to, I don't know, breakfast or lunch with her dad, and her dad is kind of being rude to her, saying she'll never act or anything again. And what's his name? Ben. Ben overhears this conversation and steps in and kind of acts like her fake boyfriend for the day. But the kicker is that Fallon is supposed to be leaving and moving to New York City the next day. But since Ben and Fallon have such a great time together, they make this plan where every year on November 9th, they will meet up for the next 5 years. They don't talk in between, and they just see each other on that day. Throughout this book, you kind of get to see their bond grow throughout the years. And this book is also one that has a super unexpected plot twist that you just have to read to believe. And I gave this book 4 stars overall. Book number 5 also happened to be another 5-star read for me. This one was The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. It was so good. It was a super easy read because a lot of the chapters are pretty short. So you would get to the end of this 3-page chapter, want to know what's happening next, and then you just see it's another 3 pages. So you kept going and going and going, and it was just great. Anyway, the point of the book is the main character, Anna, has agoraphobia and cannot leave her house, so she spends her days watching her neighbors. And one day she sees that her neighbor across the park, something happens to her, and Anna's not sure if it's real, if it's imagined, or what is going on. But she has to decide whether she stays in the house and does nothing or makes a courageous move to try to save her neighbor. So in this book, you're constantly questioning and asking yourself, like, what is real and what is imagined? Because Anna also tends to self-medicate, so it makes for a very interesting read. Book number 6 was Wonder by R.J. Palacio. And I'm sure many of you have either seen or at least heard of the movie Wonder, but this is the book that movie was based upon. After reading Woman in the Window, which is more of a psychological thriller, I did want something more innocent, lighthearted, and this is a young adult book, but I just loved the movie so much and had never read the book, so I decided now is the time. And I think that the movie production team did a really great job at bringing the book to life, because every single time I was reading part of the book, I could picture the movie scene from the movie, and I feel like that they didn't miss on it at all. But this was just a very feel-good story that I think everyone needs to read or pick up at some point. And I rated it 4 stars. Book number 7 is another one that I actually have a copy of. This book is The Hidden by Melanie Golding. And in this book, one night a 2-year-old girl is found alone outside of a shop, and a couple towns over, the police are responding to a call for like a leaky ceiling. So the police end up going into the apartment and finding a man unconscious but alive in a bathtub. At first glance, the situations don't really seem to be connected, but as the story unfolds, you realize that these stories have everything to do with each other. I really, 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 really liked the main plot line of this story. However, there is kind of a subplot that's a little out there, but it is still a very, very good read. Initially, I gave this book 4 stars, but now, after it's been a couple weeks and reflecting on it, I think I am going to up that to 4.5 just because it was a really good book, and another one that I would stay up late at night reading just because I wanted to know what was going on next. And the last book I finished in March was It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. No, I'm very, very behind on this book. Everyone probably already knows what this book is about or has read it. But anyway, the main female character is named Lily, and she falls in love with a neurosurgeon named Ryle. But there's also a man named Atlas who is Lily's first love, and she ends up in the same town as him. Really, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Reading this book, I feel like the theme of it is just kind of overdone. I didn't love Lily as a character. I know she was meant to seem weak, but I kind of like it went on way too long. And I feel like at certain points it was also like reading an infographic while talking about serious topics. Like, it just didn't seem like a natural conversation. It felt like I had called a hotline and this is what they were telling me. And those are the primary reasons why I didn't rate this book higher. I did still give it 3.5 stars, but it just wasn't my favorite. And as far as Colleen Hoover books go, I did like November 9th much more than I liked this book. Right at the end of this month, I did start reading Apples Never Fall by Liane Moriarty. I'm still not even close to finishing it yet, so that will be in the next book wrap up. But so far I'm liking it, and Peacock just came out with a series of that book, so I'm trying to finish the book so I can see the series. But so far it is a really good book. Anyways, thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. It is definitely different than the videos I have done before on my channel, but I hope you enjoyed. And if you guys have any more suggestions, video ideas that you want to see, leave them in the comments down below because I would love to get back to YouTube. But yeah, that is all for now. Bye guys.